welcome to our final show, the final part of this interesting conference and this pilot we had here today. So very thank you so much for every single contribution I had, for every single keynote speaker. It was absolutely precious, and hopefully gives you to every one of the attendees a way of improving their managing skills in their everyday project management capabilities and organization. So I'm delighted to be moderating again today's roundtable discussion on a topic that is becoming increasingly fascinating in our field. Um, the importance of soft skill and emotional intelligence in project management, and probably also the future of the project management role. Um, in today's landscape, technical skills alone are no longer sufficient for project success. So the ability to communicate effectively, lead with empathy, to navigate complex interpersonal dynamics has become just as important as mastering schedules and budgets. So we'll explore how soft skill and emotional intelligence are shaping project outcome and discuss real world example that maybe our speakers will share with us and look ahead to envision maybe the project management of the future. So we have roughly 45 minutes for the discussion, so during which we'll delve into prepared question and maybe time permitting take a few questions from the audience. So now let me again introduce our panelists, and we will have here Massimo Pierozzi that led the first part of the conference this morning, Dr. Arthur Pantelides, Patrick Lehmann, Florian Ivan. We have for sure also, where is Adi? I don't see it, but he will join us for sure. And all the, there you are. And all the people that, of course, want to share their thoughts of, they are absolutely welcome, because I mean we are shaping a little bit what we are expecting from us and from our project managers. So I would say that I will spend the first part of the round table asking you, and I ask every panelist to give me a 1 minute reply to the question. So in your experience, so my question is, in your experience, how have soft skill directly influenced the success of your project? And maybe can you share a specific example where strong skill made a crucial difference? I will start with the first one that I'm seeing under my nose. So Adi, would you like to share some thoughts?
Been just thinking, and really, I think that to me it really comes to communication, because at the beginning of my career I was thinking, it's enough to send schedules and timelines and plans, and people will just do what they are supposed to do, and obviously it was not happening. So it's really about communication and collaboration. So communicating in a vision way, and what we just saw before about visualization, how actually presenting data in the right way can be very important. And just, the way how you write things, how you describe what needs to be done, can be sometimes just not accepted well. And then it's always difficult to communicate through different cultures, specifically if you are in a remote location and then you are doing it in writing or through some documents and so on. So I think finding ways to find this direct communication to establish this real relationship, it's becoming more and more important, specifically now in the era of this all digitalization. So I think this human touch remains very important, and I find this very important in all my projects.
Thank you so much, Adi. Arthur, because what Adi said, the question remained the same, of course, but what if communication becomes problematic because of our nature? Maybe we are low or eye contact society, so we have to go through direct to a point, or maybe we have to interact with the completely different cultures between in our project. So you know that you are an expert. So
No. I'm not an expert. I've had a lot of experience. Actually, it's a good question. I'll give you two examples real quick. So to answer your question, I think it's very, very important, extremely important, and communication is of the utmost importance. My personal experience has been with one example is when I was living in Japan, I came back to the United States. I was trained, etc. Came back to the United States. At the same time, I had one of my colleagues also come back with me. I was the assistant manager of the department. He was an engineer. He was from headquarters. I was from the subsidiary. We knew who was in charge, and it wasn't me. So, this Japanese colleague, I had to learn very quickly in terms of, communication and context, etc., non-conflict, etc. I had to learn very quickly how to suppress my emotions a little bit and develop my emotional, intelligence. Being a Greek, I'm very, very kind of like this. I had to treat that situation differently. The other example, real quick, was when I was the department manager. We had a young lady from the Ukraine who was our design supervisor. And she came to me, she says, "Hey, listen, tell me what to do in this situation because one of the American designers is really not listening to me, even though I'm his boss." And the reason she came to me is because the old kind of Soviet mentality is you go to your boss and you get your boss to make the decision for you and you follow through. I said, "Listen, Milana, this is America. You need to develop a little bit more of your supervisory skills, your communication skills, your emotional intelligence skills, and treat the situation directly. I will coach you. I will communicate and coach you, but you need to do that. Don't come to me to answers. Go to the top of the pyramid to do this." And it worked out well because at that point we were working on a huge project, and if that dynamic didn't work out, it would have been a problem. So I think culturally it's very important, and it's something that has to be developed. Yeah.
thank you so much. Do you agree, Patrick?
Yeah, certainly, I absolutely agree. I do not have that many examples in terms of projects because we are not involved in many projects. We teach projects, but doesn't mean that we have to do the project. But looking back also a little bit, when I started in this field and did my certification, it was primarily really about processes and so on. Now, all the different standards, they really have integrated people, let's say, as such, and what they mean with people is really to manage people, to really lead them. It's all the soft skills that they are needed, and I think this is really a strong sign also how this changes and how important these elements are to be successful as project managers. So it's good to have the standards, to have the processes and so on, but at the end, it's really to deal with the people and bring them together to success. And one example is also that agility, which has come into project management, has brought new concept of guiding people through the projects as well. So I think it's really a strong fact today. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Florian, want to add something, please?
Yeah, for me, this has been really a great tool, to be honest. I discovered this a couple of years ago when I've done a lot of reading. I'm not an expert by all means. I mean, I think nobody is a true expert in this field.
Yeah.
But personally, for me, this was an amazing tool because it helped me to get to know myself a bit better. And I think it's a great tool for self-awareness, first of all, knowing your blind spots. knowing yourself a bit, but how you react in certain situations, and quite often knowing when you are wrong in assessing yourself. I'll give you an example. Quite a lot of times, part of what I do is not very exciting. I think that goes for everybody, isn't it? Some tasks are not that interesting, but you have to do it anyways.
Yeah.
And I remember back at the beginning, I used to believe I'm lazy because I don't want to do the task. I was procrastinating. So the label was being lazy. But I discovered that, in fact, nobody liked those tasks. A friend of mine told me, of course you don't like it. Nobody likes these kind of tasks, like bureaucracy and so on. So first, I think the first thing was being able to label things correctly about yourself, being a bit more understanding with yourself, a bit more knowledgeable about yourself, knowing your blind spots, also very important. That was probably the most important thing. I'm still still have lots of things to improve, obviously. The other thing, if I may, second thing I wanted to mention is I tend to speak very fast, as you could hear. And sometimes I say things that I regret, about things slow, things fast. I tend to think very fast. Sometimes I make mistakes and I just realize, oh, I just said it, too late. So one thing I learned is pause. Don't open your mouth, don't say anything, just take a break, take a few seconds. What I do is just write things down all the time before I have a pen here in my hand. Just write it down and then you say it. And just by writing it down, you actually think it through. So I think it's a really, really great tool. And if I make one third element, which I think is important, it sounds very selfish what I'm saying here. These are just amazing tools for me, but I think as a project manager, we have a double responsibility. One is to use these amazing tools for ourselves to become better at what we do, but also to use this for our teams, for our stakeholders. It's an amazing tool, so you can help them develop their emotional intelligence.
Thank you so much. Massimo, would you like to conclude this first question?
Of course, thank you. Of course, I agree on the importance of the communication. The importance of communication is stated in also in the facts, in data coming from the field. Organizations that communicate effectively have better results in terms also of reaching a scope, staying in the time, staying in the cost. We don't know exactly why the relationship may be complex, but this is for sure true. And on the other side, a lot of organizations feel that they have to improve in communication. I would like just to add another issue that in some ways also one of the bases of emotional intelligence. In order to improve our relations with others, is necessary to have a personal mastery. I mean, we have to make a certain work on ourselves. And this is the basis for improving also the communication with others. Another basic issue is reaching a common communication domain and also a common language, okay? Not only, of course, natural language. Each organization develops its own language, okay? Every culture develops its language, people in general have different frameworks that establishes what is important and what not for them. Project management is a classical example of success because establishes a common language, a common communication domain.
Thank you so much, Massimo. And I would like to continue with you because I think that all what you said is strongly also related to leadership. So my question is, emotional intelligence is often discussed in leadership context. How do you see it playing a role specifically in project management teams? What challenges or opportunity does it present?
Well, emotional intelligence is the basis for leadership, is a basis for building trust, building collaboration, managing also stress and managing also conflicts. Of course, there is the opportunity in general is to improve the cohesion of the team, okay, the effective cooperation. there is also some challenge, because easily we can, in some way, over-rely, okay, on emotional issues. A reason such that is better to have diverse people coming from diverse culture in the same team is exactly because in this way, in order to find a common way, generally we find a way that is more objective, okay? If we all think in the same way, probably there is some risk of introducing some personal bias, okay?
Thank you so much, Massimo. I would say maybe you would like to add something, Florian.
I think within the context of project management on teams and stakeholders, empathy could be an interesting thing to develop.
Yeah.
And I find it really powerful to be able to engage with people, and even if you do not share their point of view, to be really capable of listening, but truly listening to understand where they're coming from. And then when you say something, to be something like that's really the best thing you could possibly say. I find this to be a really powerful thing to have in teams, empathy.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree with you, because just after the lunch, I was telling as a wrap up of the morning, and we discussed during preparing this conference in the previous days, that reading The Infinite Game of Simon Sinek, he used the example of the Navy SEALs, Team 6. That is not the best team in an absolute sense, but is the one where the empathy and the effort of every single one is done to understand what's their position and how to feel like with my shoulders covered in uncertainty and high risky situations. So as I mentioned, we are not luckily in a military context, but knowing that our teams is behind us, we are not alone in managing projects, and it's drawn and it's everything is driven by the empathy. It could be absolutely amazing, and we fight against maybe the oddity, and it could be absolutely helpful. So thank you for that. Arthur, do you agree?
Yeah, I do agree. I do agree. The way the way I view emotional intelligence is kind of my personal definition is how do you act under different situations? If somebody who is not emotionally intelligent, they'll act the same way under different situations. The key is how do you do this under different situations? The way I interact with my students is different than the way I will interact with the university president, for example. I think the way I would interact with my Japanese boss would be a different way than how I would interact with my Italian boss. Now, one of the things I think how it relates to project management is, as was mentioned before, it's becoming more global. It's becoming more culturally diverse, and people need to really understand this. They have to understand the high context, low context, etc. One of the things personally that benefited me that I would recommend to somebody who's maybe now starting a education or a career is to try to be part of a project at the beginning of your career. So I was very lucky because when I started my career right out of college, I was handed a project to get ISO certified. So this organization, it's like 400 people. You're the project leader. You need to work for the next 12 months actually to get ISO certified. Working with different managers, I was like 25. Working with managers who are older, different cultures, Japanese, etc., Americans, etc., it really kind of developed me to understand how to act in certain ways with different individuals. So develop the emotional intelligence. I thought that was extremely valuable, and I would recommend that to somebody. Try to get a project at the beginning of your career and try to, learn from that. I certainly did. Real quick, my boss, when I finished the project, I thought I knew, it was successful. We got ISO 9000 certified, etc. And when I finished the project, I thought I was the greatest thing in the world. I wasn't. My boss, who was Japanese at that time, said, well, you don't really know anything. Maybe you know 10% of what is known at the company. That really brought me down. And that was a good thing. That was a good thing because it taught me how to interact with people. And I think that's very valuable.
And you made me laugh because I was recently seeing a very interesting documentary about sushi master or something like that, in which Japanese apprentice or something like that started to make this piece of sushi absolutely perfect, and the master says, no, you have to spend maybe 30 years doing exactly the same thing, and maybe when you will be 8 years old or something like that, maybe you can become a master. So yes, I see again the same approach, exactly the same approach. And it's fascinating because I was reading recently a very interesting book of Erin Meyer, The Mapping of Cultures, and there's very interesting post and article on the Harvard Business Review with data visualization, very interesting data visualization related on how on different cultural aspects, different cultures react differently, like in front of conflicts. If you put a French and a Japanese, probably they will have a problem because...
Can I make one comment real quick?
Yes, sure.
So I've worked multiple years at Japanese companies, multiple years in Italian companies, Northern Italy, very industrial, etc. And one thing that I've learned is when I was visiting Italy, we used to go to Padua, and Padua was the headquarters for us. The owner of the company, a very, very wealthy engineer, De Stefani, basically, and he would be very emotional. And I was again a young engineer at that time, and I would go into the conference room, and when he got upset, he used to take his notebook and just slam it on the wall.
Okay.
And I was shocked. Even though, again, culturally Greek, whatever, I'm an American. I was shocked. You need to understand that after that, everybody went out and had coffee and nothing changed. Everything was fine.
Yes,
if you try to do that in a Japanese culture, that's it. You're done. So I was very lucky to kind of really understand that at the beginning. And I think it's valuable. And we are becoming more and more globally in terms of projects, cultural diversity, et cetera. We're becoming more where that's going to be valuable.
Yes, I agree with you. And I confirm all the people that comes from Veneto, and I have part of my Italian family that comes from there. They are exactly the same. So I confirm you, it's inside their genes. So you can do anything about that. But it's true that after 5 minutes,
if you start talking about Italians, I will talk about my 20 more years of experience in Greece. Okay.
Oh, wow. Please, Massimo, tell us something.
And the things are not so much diverse there. Okay, not so much, okay? In fact, we say one face, one race, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So, no, but this is just an example. I can add something also with France, whatever. Yes. Okay, since I have Virginie here. Okay.
You're the half.
Half. in general, I think this the issue of the multicultural issue is a very important issue, and will become even more important, because in artificial intelligence goes on the opposite direction, no? To have everything tense, okay, to have everything more uniform, okay, especially if we don't use it correctly, okay.
Yeah.
So
And about
the
that,
diversity of a culture, the capability of speaking diverse languages, okay, of adapting to, because the issue is also the an issue of language is not only the verbal language, also the body language, for instance, no, okay. I see Dr. Pantelides that does in this way. In Greece, if you invert the sense, you make this means no.
This
Okay, not at all. No.
In
Okay.
Bulgaria, I was very confused in Bulgaria because in Bulgaria they do this. And I don't know. I don't know what to believe.
You have a risk if you don't understand the correct language, because today, no, if you make an error on that, okay, this involves the fact that everything you are saying, is wrong, okay. A wrong behavior, okay, also in language, in body language, in styles, okay, has as a consequence that everything you're saying is wrong. So is even more important. And is, on the other side, a good, not only a challenge, is also an opportunity. And we have to learn how to increase, okay, the benefits of that.
That's everything. Thank you, Massimo, because we are maybe also redirecting a little bit our conversation, and that's amazing. And we are seeing that the cultural factor is absolutely crucial in these ages. And what about, I was telling Arthur at the end of his speech that maybe we can see, this is in a bit provocating, I would like to provoke a little bit. Maybe AI, when we have to deal with a completely different culture, it may be not only a risk, but also an opportunity, because it gives us the opportunity to make a trade union and or translate a little bit the data or the good data in something that is a common language that is, I mean, decision making can be done. So it could be also interesting to spend a few times understanding how AI can not deleting, but help different culture to communicate together, not as a risk, but as an opportunity. Patrick and Adi, would you like to go through some more thoughts, or maybe we can go through the next question?
Well, probably just, well, I agree with everything what you said, but I think what is important as well is to also build within a team then afterwards this culture, and sometimes what is also a good basis for that is really to create as a leader a psychological safe environment where people can express, where they can really also live what you have shared right now, the different cultures, but then always come together again. And I think that's important, this kind of capacity to build this safe environment where people can express themselves, where there are conflicts, but then afterwards there are also mechanisms to bring them together again and to focus on what they have to do. And I think that's something which just wanted to add here, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, I agree. Thank you so much.
Maybe if I may add, just spending some time, with people you collaborate or work with, and really going and understanding, what they are about, because, we say every day, hi, how are you? But
Yeah,
How are you
exactly.
really?
Yes, you're right.
And this is a really important point, to know actually based just on that simple question and the answer that someone is actually doing well or not. And it takes a bit of time to get there, and we do not have enough time always to do this, but I think it's worth investing time in people that are around you and understanding how they function and what's important to them.
Thank you so much, Adi. So again, it's come back the matter of the topic of the empathy, and the project manager actually needs to make an effort trying to let me say, go outside the comfort zone. Even if, for example, if I am an introvert or something like that, I need to make the effort to understand what is the context of the people and the mood that there's inside a project team, or even in a broadly way. So because we today discussed a lot of topic, a lot of transformation, and my question I asked myself many months ago, when I was just trying to imagine the, let me say, the boundaries of this conference. It was, okay, but what the project manager will be like in 5 to 10 years? How do you envision the role of the project manager? What are the skill that needs for sure to that the project manager needs to let me say master, and will become essential in terms also of issue or critical aspect that needs to be faced? And what do you think about that? I would like to know, Florian, what do you think about these type of concerns?
I wouldn't call them concerns, but I would say that very important is to be more aware of the things that we should not be doing in the future, which comes down to understanding more about where the value is, and we're just wasting time. There are many things I was saying earlier, things that might make you feel lazy or boring tasks. I need to be a bit more creative in terms of delegating that, and AI should be a solution here. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a project manager in the future, but I'm also pretty sure that it's going to look a bit different. It might be more strategic. It might be more next to the boardroom. I've been in technology about 25 years, and I've seen something interesting with IT and technology in general. People who used to work in technology 20, 25 years ago, and many of those were my friends, they had to choose between either you sit on the board table and you make strategic decisions, or you just under the table cabling stuff and doing some really lousy work. I think it'll be the same with project managers. Hopefully, we'll be smart enough to make the right decision to go towards making decisions that would impact the world, impact the organization. Otherwise, we'll just end up being just fulfilling like simple tasks. And then obviously the day will come when they'll be made redundant and they'll be replaced by a machine or whatever. But I'm pretty sure that it's gonna look quite different.
Arthur.
I agree. I agree, and based on what was in my discussion, I think AI is a tool that will enable more free time for project managers to focus on the people side, on the soft skills, emotional intelligence, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that's very important. As Mr. Ivan said, Florian said, I think they'll think more strategically, which is very important. They'll look at the bigger picture of the organization. They'll see the value that their project creates, not so much only just delivering something, but the actual value for the organization. And the last thing I want to mention is I really believe that one of the skills that should be developed that is very, very crucial, that now they'll have the opportunity to develop it based on the AI tool, alleviating the boring stuff, I think is this spirit or idea of entrepreneurship. I've taught entrepreneurship, and when you think about entrepreneurship, this idea of entrepreneurship, it's like what opportunities can I come up with? What opportunities can I utilize, create? Just that sentence by itself, whether it's project management or anything, really, I think makes the person better. You know, what opportunities can I create in this negotiation if I'm a project manager? What opportunities can I create in terms of extended value of this project for my organization? So this idea of entrepreneurship is very important.
Thank you so much, Arthur. Maybe Massimo, a thought about that, and then we can start to wrap up our day and maybe leave you to the final part of the day.
Okay, thank you. I agree 100% with what has been said on the subject. I just would like to add the perspective. Yes, project manager must understand AI, must be trained in general on digital literacy, of course, on AI, but also on other emerging technologies, maybe also sometimes in machine learning, sometimes data analysis. And this is also because we have the problem of a correct use of AI. Okay? AI today, a lot of times, is not used correct. We ask to AI maybe things that, for instance, the first times we ask things that normally we ask to search engines, okay? AI has to be trained. It's a different story, okay? It's a different story. So I think that what we have to invest in, also from the point of view of telling things to people in diverse ways, is a correct and responsible use of AI.
Thank you so much, Massimo. So I would like to focus a little bit on the, maybe to wrap up every single thought we got here. So we are asking our project managers to become not anymore a task manager, because sometimes in real projects, they are not deciding, they are just executing. So they are not thinking about what needs to be done, what is the alignment with the strategic, what's the purpose of our project, why I'm doing this, and what's the reason I'm doing, spending my time looking at the Gantt or a critical path. There is still useful understanding how the critical path is done, but probably in 5 years, I will have an AI or an evolution of a software that is doing it for me in a more effective way, as Arthur, you told us that the implementation actually of the AI in projects, it's not something that is happening right now, but it was happening still many years ago. So we are asking our project managers to become general managers. It's something that they are focusing their efforts on finding the real purpose of the project, and how to say, but not singularly related to the single little project, because we know very well that projects are not island. They are in a much broader context. So as the infinite game, the goal is not to win the medals, but to stay relevant, to have our goals in terms of projects related to the strategic objective, and understand if these goals are still relevant for the organization. And then focusing on let the team grows, because nothing can be more important than trustworthiness, and be able to count on a colleague, or maybe the boss, or maybe one of our assistants, and so on. So it's a matter of collaboration again, because maybe we can have the AI as the best support tool in order to make better maybe decision, but as everyone said today, and also Alberto Cairo, that it was with us, the final decision is always mine as a human being. Okay, so before concluding the evening, I would like to ask you final thoughts and maybe an advice, a suggestion for all the attendees we got today, and then I will leave you. Will leave you to your evening/afternoon. Patrick, maybe you want to start.
Okay. Right. Just to summarize, I think project manager will be certainly a profession that will have its, let's say, reason in the future as well. It will be, as it has already been said, much more, let's say, open than it was before, in a sense that it's not about task anymore. It's really about entrepreneurship. I like this as well, or ownership, really run with your project in the environment you're in, with the team that you have, to success. To have this mean really to create value for the shareholders, the stakeholders, not the shareholders, stakeholders, but also for the end users. But then also to navigate with all the new aspects that are coming. You know, before it was project management on methodology, then Agile came in, leadership came in. Now it's also AI that comes in, sustainability. So this curiosity to all integrate in your small project sometimes, or bigger project, I think that's the capacities and the competencies that the project manager needs to have in the future.
Thank you so much. Massimo, would you like to add something?
Of course, I agree. In general, project management in all his roles, not only the project managers, will be effective by these emerging technologies. And I personally believe that this will be a great challenge, a great opportunity, of course, of going, as we said, also higher levels in terms of strategic, in terms of decision support and whatever. Of course, it has also challenges, okay? So it is a bit left to us to catch the opportunities in terms of augmentation, okay? And to use properly the challenges in terms of automation.
Thank you, Massimo. These are, how to say, keywords that I've plenty of time today I collected during every intervention you got. So thank you so much. Adi, would you like to share some final thought?
Well, I would say navigating complex situation is a skill to have, which is not easy to get, and it requires some time and the patience, because we really need to be innovative, but at the same time we have to be efficient, but at the same time we have to be adaptable, flexible. So I would say, I think altogether it's really about being resilient. So I think that level of resilience that we need to develop has to be very strong. And I, for example, find my force and my strength is really from community. So I can't repeat it enough, that just being member of several communities, and this one included, always reminds me, you know, how we think similarly and how we are all kind of going in some direction, and it always confirms that the change is happening, but together we can do it well.
Thank you so much, Adi. Arthur.
What I would use as a takeaway here is asking yourself the question, are you leveraging technology, and are you leveraging your capabilities to add value to the organization? That's the first step. in terms of then taking that, is that also fulfilling your career ambitions? Because it has to be a balance. So are you adding value to the organization? Is your position in the organization also fulfilling your careers and your career ambitions? And at the same time, are you developing others? And if you look at that circle, developing others, it goes back to what I was saying in the presentation. You're slowly transforming the organization from the human side, from the organizational culture point of view. And that's important because, again, as a strategist, etc., that is something that's hard for competitors to copy. So I think that's kind of like the circle that I would give out as a final result.
Thank you so much. This is precious. And finally, Florian, would you like to add something to our conference?
There's a famous quote that says, "A fool with a tool is still a fool." So project management, it's a tool. AI is a tool. They should serve a higher purpose. And I think our job is to find that higher purpose. And once we find that higher purpose and it's very clear what that is, then I think we're going to be okay.
That's precious. And I truly agree. And officially thank you, every one of you, because it was like a marathon, I would say, because more than 7 hours online, it's a huge effort, not only for you guys, but for all the attendees that stays till now. It's precious again, but it confirms me that it's a topic and it's a mindset that we need to explore more and constantly. And like observers, we need to put ourselves in a watchtower and be able to read complex context and the world around us, because it's moving so fast. So we are asked to find, not only, as Florian said, and I absolutely agree, the purpose. If there's no higher purpose, how I can convince my team to be motivated and work for something that it's with the start and the end date, like we can see in the books, And so we have to look beyond the mere definition of project manager. It's something that we need to extend. And because of that, we need to find the anchors, what puts us on the ground, because if everything around us is moving so fast, how we can spread tranquility, calm, and because without the calm and the mindfulness, of the mind, how a project manager can deal with uncertainty, with high risk decision, and the amount of data we are covered every day when we are dealing with projects. So guys, and all the people was contributing today, thank you, really. Thank you so much. Hopefully we are going to follow up, of course, give us just the time to wrap up every single content. We will share everything, all the slides, all the videos with you. And it will be a great pleasure to redo the same conference maybe in a year and discuss is always still the truth, what we are saying here today and what will happen in a year. So thank you so much for the contribution. It was an amazing day, and thank you again.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye. See
Bye.
you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Ciao.